Imagine this. Sarah and Mark are on a date. Sarah planned the evening meticulously. She picked the restaurant, made the reservation, and even chose a bottle of wine she knew Mark would like. She wanted everything to be perfect, hoping to create a memorable evening for both of them. Throughout the dinner, Mark regales Sarah with stories of his day, his ambitions, his dreams. He talks about his latest project at work, his plans for the future, and even a funny incident that happened on his way to the restaurant. He seems oblivious to Sarah's subtle cues. A yawn here, a glance at her watch there. She tries to interject, to share her own thoughts and experiences, but Mark's monologue continues uninterrupted. Finally, the check arrives. Mark, without missing a beat, pushes it towards Sarah. He doesn't even pause to consider splitting it or offering to pay. "Thanks for dinner, it was great." He smiles, seemingly unaware of the effort Sarah put into the evening or her growing frustration. This scene, unfortunately, isn't confined to romantic relationships. It can happen in any type of relationship. Think about your friendships, your family ties. Have you ever felt like you're the one always giving while the other person just takes? Do you know someone who always takes center stage, demands attention, but rarely reciprocates? They dominate conversations, leaving little room for others to share. They might be the one constantly asking for favors, seeking emotional support, or expecting you to always be there for them, no matter what. They lean on you heavily, but when you need them, they're nowhere to be found. Yet, when the tables are turned, they seem to vanish into thin air. You find yourself feeling ignored, unappreciated, and taken for granted. It's important to recognize these patterns in our relationships. Reflect on how balanced your interactions are. Are you giving more than you're receiving? Are your efforts being acknowledged and reciprocated? Setting boundaries is crucial. Have open and honest conversations about your needs and expectations. It's okay to ask for what you deserve in a relationship. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, understanding, and reciprocity. When both parties are willing to give and take, the bond strengthens and flourishes. So whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a family tie, strive for balance. Ensure that both you and the other person feel valued and appreciated, because at the end of the day, everyone deserves to feel heard, respected, and cherished. And being in a relationship with a taker can be emotionally draining. It's like pouring your heart into a bottomless pit where your efforts and love seem to vanish without a trace. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. Each step becomes a struggle, each moment a test of endurance. At first you might not mind. You care about this person. You want to be there for them. You believe that your love and support will eventually be reciprocated. But as time goes on, the weight starts to take its toll. The burden becomes heavier and the journey more exhausting. You feel tired, depleted, and taken for granted. The emotional toll starts to affect your well-being, making you question your worth and the value of your efforts. Your own needs are constantly put on the back burner. You sacrifice your happiness and well-being for the sake of the relationship, hoping that things will change. This emotional exhaustion can manifest in various ways. You might find yourself feeling constantly drained, unable to muster the energy for things you once enjoyed. You might experience increased anxiety, feeling constantly on edge, always anticipating the next demand. The stress of trying to meet someone else's needs while neglecting your own can be overwhelming. Resentment might start to creep in, poisoning the well of your affection. The love you once felt begins to sour, replaced by feelings of frustration and bitterness. This resentment is a natural response to feeling used and unappreciated. It's a sign that your emotional resources are being depleted faster than they can be replenished. It's a sign that the balance is off and something needs to change. Recognizing this imbalance is the first step towards reclaiming your emotional well-being and finding a healthier dynamic in your relationships. A relationship is like a house. Both people are responsible for its upkeep. When one person consistently takes without giving back, it's like one person doing all the cleaning, paying all the bills, while the other enjoys the comforts without lifting a finger. The house, in this case, the relationship, starts to fall apart. This imbalance creates a breeding ground for resentment and bitterness. The giver feels increasingly frustrated and unappreciated, while the taker, oblivious or simply indifferent, continues to take. This lack of reciprocity can lead to constant arguments, a breakdown in communication, and ultimately the collapse of the entire structure. Understanding the motivations behind a taker's behavior can be complex. It often requires delving into their past experiences and psychological makeup. Sometimes it stems from a place of deep insecurity. These individuals may have faced significant emotional challenges that left them feeling inadequate or unworthy. They might be so afraid of vulnerability and rejection that they build walls, taking without giving to protect themselves from potential hurt. This defensive mechanism can become a habitual way of interacting with others. Other times it's a matter of learned behavior. From a young age, they might have observed and internalized the actions of those around them. Perhaps they grew up in an environment where their needs were always prioritized, leading them to believe this is the norm in all relationships. This can create a sense of entitlement and expectation that others will always cater to their desires. However, it's crucial to remember that understanding their motivations does not excuse their behavior. Recognizing the root causes can foster empathy, but it should not lead to enabling or accepting harmful actions. It's not your responsibility to fix them or to tolerate their actions at the expense of your own well-being. Setting boundaries and prioritizing your mental and emotional health is essential. You deserve relationships that are reciprocal and nurturing, where both parties give and receive equally. Section 5. Recognizing the red flags. Are you in a one-sided relationship? Identifying a one-sided relationship is the first step towards healing and setting healthy boundaries. Ask yourself, do you feel drained and emotionally exhausted after spending time with this person? Do you find yourself constantly giving without receiving anything in return? Are your needs and feelings consistently disregarded or minimized? If the answer to these questions is yes, it's time to take a step back and reevaluate the dynamics of this relationship. Remember, you deserve to be in relationships where you feel valued, respected, and loved. You deserve reciprocity. Section 6. Communication is key. Expressing your needs. Often takers might not even realize the imbalance they are creating. They might be completely oblivious to the impact of their actions. This is why open and honest communication is crucial. Express your feelings calmly and clearly. Let them know how their behavior makes you feel. Use I statements to avoid sounding accusatory. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try, "I feel unheard when my opinions are dismissed." This approach focuses on your feelings and experiences rather than pointing fingers. Section 7. Setting boundaries. The power of no. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it's self-preservation. You have the right to protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. This might involve saying no to unreasonable requests, limiting contact, or prioritizing your own needs. Initially, the other person might resist these changes. They might try to guilt-trip you or dismiss your feelings, but stand firm. Remember, you are not responsible for their reaction. You are responsible for taking care of yourself. Section 8. Reevaluating the relationship. Is it time to move on? Sometimes, despite your best efforts, the other person might be unwilling or unable to change. They might be so set in their ways that they refuse to acknowledge the problem, let alone work towards a solution. In such cases, it's important to ask yourself if this relationship is truly serving you. Is it adding value to your life, or is it depleting you? Sometimes walking away is the healthiest choice, even if it's painful. Section 9. The importance of self-love. Navigating a one-sided relationship can be challenging, but it's important to remember that you are worthy of love and respect. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. Prioritize self-care and engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, people who reciprocate your love and support. Remember, you are not defined by the actions of others. Your worth is inherent. Section 10. Building a future of reciprocity. Moving forward, seek out relationships built on a foundation of mutual respect, understanding, and reciprocity. Look for partners, friends, and family members who are willing to give as much as they take, who celebrate your successes and offer support during challenging times. Remember, a healthy relationship is a two-way street. It's about give and take, about supporting each other's growth and celebrating each other's uniqueness. You deserve nothing less.